right, guys. You won't believe it. But here on the Fight Game podcast, I told you guys we were coming. And this has got to be, first of all, it's my favorite MMA fighter in UFC history. Why? Because the guy never turns down fights. The guy's always game. He doesn't talk trash for no reason. He showed that last week when he, put a spanking on Hernandez. There's really not much I can say except for I am finally starstruck here. I've got the great Donald Cowboy Cerrone.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on, man.
No worries. No worries.
I know we're in a little weird place. Our background's kind of lame, but I promise you, we had to find a place that was very a little bit more quiet than what's going on cage side. They're getting the cage ready. They're putting it in there in the theater. Cowboy had a little bit of time here to talk with us and talk to you guys, East Coast fans of mixed martial arts, combat arts in general. I'll start off by saying, Cowboy, and let me get this out of the way. You delivered. Last week you delivered 100%, and it sounded like you didn't have really a doubt in your mind about how that fight was going to go.
You know, when you train as many years as I have, there's nothing really that kid was going to show me that I hadn't seen a million times, right? But no, everyone always wants to say you reinvented yourself, you found a new fire. It's always been there, man. It's just it's such a weird game, highs and lows, like the highest highs you could ever imagine and the lowest lows in the sport. Like these guys are about to figure that out tonight. The guys that lose, it's so hard to like rebound from those, and just a wild ride, bro, wild and crazy. But yeah, I had a lot of good training, a lot of goodwill going into that fight. I felt really healthy, really strong, and back at 55 making a title run.
Do you think that we should hope against hope that Connor is going to take a fight with you?
I mean, everything's looking good so far. He has court coming up next week, kind of depending on that. But I think it's a pretty good, all signs point to yes.
God, I love hearing that. I mean, I'm not a Connor fan per se,
Sure.
but I know how important he is and how good he was for the sport to kind of grow and all that. Now, with you, and this will be the last thing I ask you, and then we can talk about Cowboy Fight Series. But watching the old fights, watching the stuff that you were doing as a new pro, and even as an amateur, you don't seem to really have those lows. I mean, if you look at your record, I mean, yeah, you've had some losses, but you've always sort of had that. No one ever really counted you out on the fight side. Do you feel like you've had those lows and people just haven't seen that side of you?
Well, I meant lows as in, taking a loss to me is a low. Like, it sucks, but never like on the verge of being fired or being cut or on the verge of thinking maybe this wasn't the right direction I went with my life. But, man, it's so hard. Like, when you do take a loss, like I remember my first loss, I was undefeated for so long. Your first loss is just like, like you just think, you're like, my career's over, I'm done. Like, it's just your mind plays so many tricks, it's weird. But I feel good, man. I feel good, feel healthy. I feel like I'm in my prime.
And at this point, you said, look, I'm going to take top five, maybe top 8, only if it makes sense to my career.
Correct.
You said within 5 years, because you're looking out your window, so
yeah,
you can see the end of the light of the tunnel.
Sure.
You're looking to get that hardware.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get that champ, man. I'm gonna do it for sure. It's like the last thing I need to do in the legacy, right?
Yes.
Not only that, but along the way in these next 5 years, I'm gonna set these records that I'm setting so far ahead that these new kids are like, God damn, how did he do it?
How did he do it? Yeah.
How did he do it? How could somebody be in and stay at the top of the game for so long? And that's what I want, man. That's what I want my legacy to be, just like the guy that everyone still talks about 20 years, 30 years down the road, and saying, man, he just came and he did it.
How many of those guys do you think are out there? Because I feel like that goes down into the genes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you see a lot of kids now that are good at everything. They're good at jiu-jitsu, good at wrestling, good at striking.
Like when you started, you were finishing guys with jiu-jitsu, even though you were training with Dwayne.
Right.
You were training with over at all I can think about is Winkle. But
Greg Jackson. Greg Jackson. Correct, but I mean, I feel like the fighters, like the Leonard Garcias and even myself, the guys that can take a beating and still come back and fight, like the dying fighters. We're kind of losing those guys, man. They're falling. Now it's just like a bunch of athletes that are trying to become fighters instead of fighters that are also athletes, you know. So the sport's changing a little bit, but we'll see. I like to say I'm a fighter first, man, athlete second. You know, I feel like when it comes down to it, I love it. There's nothing I'd rather do than get in there and throw the fuck down.
Do you think that's why the fans love you so much? I mean, you really don't get hate. That's why, because of that attitude?
Man, I'd like to think so. I'd like to think they know every time I'm going in that fight, I'm going to fight. You know, I'm not just trying to figure it out, but no, I'm going to meet them in the middle and throw down.
You started this, you know, with the help of the guys at Sucker Punch, and obviously we're here in Annandale right now, Annandale, Virginia, the DMV, Cowboys here for Cowboy Fight Series, which you're putting on. Is this your way of kind of getting people back into that fighter first mentality and finding fighter first fighters?
Yeah, man, it kind of goes hand in hand with the reason that I built, you know, the BMF Ranch to give back to, like, I remember when I first started talking about going with Dwayne, and when I was in Colorado trying to find a real gym and people that would train me, because I was wild, man. I was the guy that nobody wanted to put their name on. Like, no, now I'm respected because I earned it. Back then, I used to come in your gym and they were like, "Yeah, you can come in here and spar with us, but we're not putting, you know, our name behind Cowboy. Like, no way."
Because you were like a loose cannon.
Yeah, super loose cannon, man. I didn't follow any rules. I didn't bow to anybody. You know what I mean? Like, there's
traditional stuff.
Yeah, no, that was not
important back then.
Yeah, of course, that wasn't me, and I wouldn't come in on the time I was supposed to train. I was just a wild kid, you know, and it's just, anyways, so I created the ranch to try and give a place where people can get all-in-one training and learn and come down there and be like, you know, Cowboy, what do you do to cut weight? What do you do for management? What do you do for sponsors? What, you know, answer all these questions and kind of give a home to people that didn't have one. And that's kind of my direction with this fight series, is try to build these kids up. And I want to run this show every month, every 2 months, you know, and have like a good, solid stable where fighters aren't pulling out or backing out. I want to have like good, legit card where people know that the Cowboy Fight Series is coming to town. Like, that's going to be a good show we want to go watch. You know, I know that everyone on there, that's good fights, right? And that's the direction I want. And I want to take these kids and build them up. You know, guys that are winning 2, 3, 4 fights. Get them good fights, get them tough fights, not just like tomato cans. I'm not going to build any, but no one's going to get feeders, you know what I mean? And I want to switch over into pro, grow the pro thing up, and then get these guys into the bigger organizations, put their feet in the door at the UFC, you know? Like, so I kind of want to like mentor them and guide these, build them from amateurs all the way up, you know, and help them figure out what the right direction to go.
Is CFS going to be working with BMF as far as like, is it like a farm system? Where
Yes. Right
on. Wow.
So our first show, we just been talking about that in the back of our minds. You know, I want to have, you know, give these guys that put 2, 3 shows on, and then start picking some guys like, you know, he did really well. This 70-pounder, he's doing really good. Bring him to the ranch, have him live, train, and just kind of build these guys up. So, yeah, there's kind of a farm thing to feed to the BMF, to then feed for their careers, you know, and. We have Sucker Punch going to be working with Brian Hamper and those guys to help on the management side, because I don't want anything to do with that. I'm not here for the money of these guys. You know, I have no intentions of saying, hey man, you owe me a percentage. But no, Hamper's a good guy who's one of my first managers when I first started, and just introduce them with the Sucker Punch. Let them worry about all that. You guys, or not. You don't have to go with them. Doesn't matter to me, right? There's the door if you want to go through. Cool. If you want to take this door, go with that one too. If your Uncle Billy wants to manage you, go ahead. You know what I'm saying?
Don't let Uncle Billy
yeah, you know what I mean? So sure, whatever you want. I'm just going to give you the guidance. You know, I'm going to help you train smart, show you how to have fun, how to live life, man. That's really probably the most important thing to me that I'll show these guys is don't just cut your life off, man, you know, because one day when we're all sitting down, like if I would have just live my life the way everyone wanted me to, I'd be sitting here 36 years old right now. Sure, I'd probably have a lot of money, but I wouldn't be young and have my youth and be able to go live the life that I wanted to my whole last 15 years, you know? So I'm going to show these kids that, man. Show them that it's important to, when you're sore and not feeling it, take the days off, go have fun. And so that's...
you sound like a great mentor, man. And that's what they need is mentors. They're starving for that, and there's so many of them now.
Sure.
It's such a, you know, back when you started fighting, I mean, MMA was still...
Dude, it was... I remember making the decision where I was going to go train. At the time, it was Greg Jackson or Pat Milich's. That was kind of like, that was it. That was it back then, right? The two big ones, yeah. Now, I mean, every town, everywhere around the world, they're everywhere. So training is so much different. But back then, it wasn't. So that's why I uprooted and moved to New Mexico and started my life. But now telling these kids I want them to train and grow them and help groom them, by no means are they stuck with me. You know what I'm saying? You come to the ranch, if you want to go train here and go train there, absolutely. I think that's never. No way. Absolutely not. I won't never make anyone sign anything. You can come. If you like it, cool. If it's not for you, it's not for you. And so, yeah, I think cross-training, I hate these gyms. I see it all the time. I have a lot of friends and other training partners that come to the ranch, and they train with us, and then I get, like, messages from their coaches, and they get, like, bad energy saying, Cowboy's trying to steal. Like, no. You know what I mean? Like, hey, man, for you as a coach, you should be proud and happy that you're going there and learning. Don't ever try and, like, man. Dude, that doesn't make any sense. Dude, I don't want to. I'm not trying to put my name on you, steal your students, steal nothing. Hey, man, I'm just helping these kids out. So, yeah, that's with that being said.
Yeah, man. You've got all these things going on right now. You've got whatever's going to happen in your next fight.
Sure.
Fight Connor or whatever in order to get the championship. You got a zillion people that are behind you. After everything is said and done as far as your fight career goes, you go out, you know, with a bang. Now you're looking at CFS, you're looking at BMF. Why? This is kind of curious to me. I don't know the answer, but why did you choose the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, like to start this thing?
We kind of want to start over on the East Coast. I want to go everywhere. So, like, I want to next, you know, go to Maine or go to Tennessee, go to Louisiana. I want to just, like I said, every month change it, move it, go into Mexico, you know, and just, cool. Wow. Yeah, just all over. And why we started here, I don't know. Why we started here and we didn't start in L.A., I have no real reason other than we just picked it out of the hat and said, let's go.
Do you know, I know you trained here years and years ago.
Sure.
With Disciple guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you got a chance to kind of, like, you know, train with a lot of people, but what do you think about the fighters in this area, like, as far as in comparison? Because, you know, you're an elite level.
Sure. Well,
you've been elite for a long time.
And I think that what's really cool about our show tonight is there's no, like, give me fights, right? A lot of like, our main event, those are two undefeated top prospects, right? So they probably would have never met had it not been for us. So I'm excited to see a lot of these fights because we put them together and build them like, you're good, let's do it. To get to the next level, that's what you have to do, right? So I think the talent out here is rich. A lot of great wrestling and jiu-jitsu basing on the East Coast. And that's one of the reasons why we come out here, bring these kids, see what they have to offer, man. I'm super excited about the card. And moving forward with more cards, it's just going to be, like I said, we're not going to say, oh, I like this kid, or hamper, and the Sucker Punch guys are managing something, and they're like, let's feed him something. None of that shit's going to happen. There's not going to be no one's getting tomato cans, man. Sorry, I just won't allow it. Hard fight, especially with the guys that are at the ranch with me right now. It's funny because they'll be in the car with me and a manager will call about a fight, and they're like, oh, who do you want in the fight? So that's your toughest guy. And they're in the back seat, like, I'm like, yeah, I want whoever the toughest guy you have is. That's who we want to fight. So, yeah.
Last question, and you know, this has nothing to do with fighting, but you know, all the fans out there of Cowboy, like I said, there's zillions, know that Cowboy, fighting's not the only dangerous thing. This guy, like, his hobbies are all very dangerous hobbies, and really, I mean, high adrenaline.
Sure.
You know, having a kid and family and all that stuff, and I know you're still I know that you're still a fighter and everything, but while fighting, you tend to do these things that could end your life very quickly.
Sure.
Have you been kind of like easing off?
No way, hell no.
Really, no? Huh?
Nah.
Wow.
No.
Bro.
I love it. Yeah, I love chasing that feeling, and I won't ever stop. There's no way. Like my wife now, she will never tell me what I can or can't do. You know, and usually she's right there with me.
Right on. She's a ride or die.
Yes,
I love that.
for sure.
And you do the caving?
Yep, we're going next weekend. Back to the caves.
So no fear of claustrophobia or
darkness? No. Oh, sure. Of course I do. That's what makes it fun and crazy. You know, like cave diving is such an elite sport, man. There's 5% of the population dives. 2% of them are tech divers, and probably less than that cave dive. So I mean, the amount, it's just something I enjoy and love, man. It's crazy.
It's crazy. So if you didn't have cave diving, what would be the other adrenaline thing you would do?
Oh, I mean, shit, I'd do it too. Skydiving, yeah, rock climbing.
I know I saw you doing that.
So, yeah.
Shooting guns, but that's
yeah.
not.
I mean,
so.
sure. I've taught, you name it, I love it, man. And the adrenaline packed, I enjoy the shit out of it.
That's what's up. He's a mentor, guys, now. So definitely, and a lot of people are you had said in another interview that you want to be somebody that the kids can look up to,
sure,
and model their own lives after.
Right.
Have a cowboy doll and everything, and not feel like you're somebody that they should avoid.
Sure.
You're doing it, man.
Man, thank you.
You're absolutely doing it. I just want to thank Cowboy for coming on the Fight Game podcast. Cowboy, as I told you before, the Fight Game podcast is all about the East Coast MMA.
Perfect.
We don't get enough shine out here.
Sure.
The West Coast guys shine all day. No shine out here, but Cowboy's helping bring the fighters that deserve it to the forefront here in the East Coast. And I want to just thank you on behalf
You're welcome.
of everybody. And Cowboy, can I get you to say, hey guys, check out the Fight Game podcast?
Yeah, what's going on there? This is Cowboy. Check out the Fight Game podcast.